Hello there, Greetings. Welcome to Educate. Today we're going to be doing electric circuits and we're just going to do the basics. When we talk about electric circuits, you basically have an idea on what electricity is, right? What is electricity and how do we define it in terms of physical sciences? We start with three things in fact. So we have got a power source. A power source is basically what gives power or what gives energy so that we can have electricity moving around. Usually we use a cell. A cell consists of two terminals. We know that it has a positive terminal as well as a negative terminal, and then you find that that cell or that power source, it will be connected to a certain component. So it will be connected to a certain component, and then there you have it. Now you say that this is an electric circuit. So you just need these three major things for you to make a complete electric circuit. So how does electricity work? To describe this, we start here at the power source. So basically, when we're talking about electricity, we're actually talking about electrical current, basically. So electrical current, it moves through this thing that is known as a conductor. So the conductor is responsible for moving electric current. So basically, it means that here, the current actually moves from the positive terminal and it goes all the way to the negative terminals. So using arrows to represent that, we will say that the current moves in this direction. So these arrows are trying to say that the current moves in this direction and then until it goes back to the negative terminal. So it's from positive to negative terminal. We usually say that is known as conventional current. Yes, conventional current, it moves from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. So now that electric current, it is actually used to power up our components. So any component, we can be talking about a bulb. For example, when you're connecting a bulb to electricity, you want it to light up. When you're connecting a phone to a charger, you want it to charge it. Maybe you're connecting a speaker to the electricity, you want it to make a sound. So basically that's what we use electrical energy for. But now, how do we describe the conversion of that energy? First of all, we start with the battery. The battery, it is the one that has got what we call chemical energy. So basically here, the battery, which is just made up of cells, this power cell, this cell is a power source, right? So it has got chemical energy. So here, the battery, we can just say battery has chemical energy. So it means the type of energy that we find in the battery is known as chemical energy. When you go to grade 12, you will do this topic of electrochemistry, whereby you will understand how chemicals can be used to produce energy. So basically the battery stores chemical energy. So the moment you connect a conductor on the two terminals of the battery, that is, you connect this wire here to the positive terminal and the other side of the wire you connect it to the negative terminal, that chemical energy will be converted to the electrical energy. So basically the chemical energy that is stored in the battery, it is the one that will change. So this battery has chemical energy. Now chemical energy changes, so we can say that chemical energy is converted, we can say that it is converted to electrical energy. So the electrical energy is basically the energy that you will then use to work with your components, to light up your components. If it is a bulb, then it will turn on. For example, right now I'm in front of a light, a ring light. So basically it is turning on. It is because it is getting electrical energy. But that energy, at first, it was chemical energy in the battery. So now one of the questions that you may be asked, explain what does it mean when you say that a battery is going flat? Because you can see sometimes you connect a battery to a certain component and that component will end up turning off after working for so long. For example, your phone, if you keep on using it before charging it, what will happen? Your phone will end up going at battery low. So basically, what are we trying to say here? The battery can go flat. in terms of physics, if they say explain what does it mean when we say that the battery has gone flat. So now when a battery has gone flat, what does it mean? When you explain that, you say that when a battery goes flat, so you say that when a battery goes flat, when a battery goes flat, what actually happens? This actually means that all the chemical energy of the battery, all the chemical energy of the battery has been converted. So it has been converted to electrical energy. So if a question comes up and say, explain what does it mean when we say that a battery has gone flat, you explain it in terms of physics. You don't just say the battery goes flat, so it means that the light bulbs will turn off or something like that. You must tell us in terms of physics, what does it mean when a battery runs out of power? Okay, it simply means that all the chemical energy it had at first, all the chemical energy it had inside it has been converted to electrical energy so that it can be used up by particular components. I hope that you get that. Basically, remember we say that the battery stores chemical energy, and that chemical energy, the moment you connect a conductor to both sides or to both terminals, that is when that chemical energy will actually be converted to to electrical energy. So basically, when all the chemical energy that we had in the battery has been now converted or has now been converted to electrical energy, then what do we say? We say that the battery will go flat. Just simply means that it cannot continue doing its work anymore because it doesn't have chemical energy in it anymore. So this is just basically how we understand how a circuit works in basic terms. So here, this component here that is connected, the one that uses up the energy, the electrical energy, it is known as a resistor. So here, this component is known as a resistor. So a resistor, it is any component that is able to use up electrical energy. It can be a light bulb, it can be a capacitor, it can be anything that uses up electrical energy. So even if they put a light bulb here, it is still a resistor, because basically a resistor, it is something that is able to use electrical energy and convert it to other forms of energy. For example, the light bulb, it gets electrical energy from the battery, but it converts it into light energy so that you can see. For example, if I turn on the lights, that electrical energy, the electricity, is now converted to light energy so that we can be able to see. You kind of get the sense. For example, if I connect a speaker here, that speaker will be able to take that electrical energy and produce it as sound energy. That heater, for example, or maybe that stove, when you connect a stove to electricity, it does the same function. It uses that electrical energy. It changes that electrical energy into what? Into other forms of energy. In this case, it will be heat energy, because you know that a heater becomes hot the moment you connect it to the power source. So you should know that the resistor, that is any component that is able to do what? That is able to use up electrical energy. So every component has some form of resistance. We are still going to look at all those quantities and how they work with each other. So now that we have a basic idea of the physics behind electric circuits, now we can bring certain quantities or certain measurements that we can carry out in electrical circuits. All right. So we have got certain measurements. Quantities are just things that you can measure at a certain place or at a certain thing. So basically here we've got certain measurements that we can do on electric circuits. There are things that we can measure and we can try to put the mathematics into the physics. So basically we have got the first, which is the definition of current. Basically, you need to know that electric current, the electricity itself, how do we define it? We say that a electric current, it is the what? It is the rate. It is the rate of flow of charge. So electric current, we say it is known as the rate of flow of charge. So we want to say how fast, because the rate describes how fast something happens or how fast something changes. So in this case, we are trying to see how fast does charge flow. So basically, you don't have to get too much deep on what charge we are talking about here. But basically, when we are describing the electricity or when we are defining electric current, you say it is the rate at which charge flows, or you can say it's the rate of flow of charge. So basically you must have some charges flowing and then you must have a rate. That's why the formula says the formula of current I, we use this symbol to represent current. So whenever you see capital letter I like this, that represents electric current. So I is equals to Q over delta T. So this is basically the formula that we use to calculate electric current. This I here, it is the symbol telling us of the current strength. So we are trying to see the current strength. So the current strength may differ. For example, if I'm going to take a smaller battery, the one that you use to light up your torch, and I try to connect it to a maybe something bigger, maybe I try to connect that battery to a bigger speaker. Right. The moment I take that battery, the one that you use to light up a torch, and I put it in the speaker will not be able to work. Why is that? Is because that battery is not able to provide enough current. All right. So basically, the current strength differs among different components. For example, the current that you require to light up a light bulb, it is not the same current that you require to light up a smaller thing. You kind of get the sense that the strength of the current differs. So the current strength is calculated by the amount of charge, which is Q over delta T, which is the time taken for that charge to flow. So this Q here is representing the charge. And remember, when you did electrostatics, we say that charge is measured in coulombs. All right, so charge is measured in coulombs. So a typical question will tell you that you have got 20 coulombs of charge that is flowing in 2 seconds. So that is the time. So here, this is the time, and your time must always be in seconds, because remember that the standard unit for time here in physics, we use seconds. So when you know the charge and you know the time taken for that charge to flow, then you are able to calculate the current strength, because basically the current is the rate of flow of charge. So how can you try to use this formula to answer questions? Maybe I can bring a smaller question and I'll be like, you have got probably they say in a question, for example, example 1, we can say 20 nanocoulombs, 20 nanocoulombs of charge flows in 2 minutes. Calculate the current. So 20 nanocoulombs of charge flows in 2 minutes. So it means that this is the amount of charge that is flowing past the point within 2 minutes. So basically, remember that charge is measured in coulombs. So the moment you see this unit 20N, this N is just a prefix. Remember, in electrostatics, N represents times 10 to the power of -9. That is nano, right? So this C here, it is coulomb. So what is measured in coulombs? Remember, it is charge. You get the sense, right? We measure charge in coulombs. So here, this is 20 nanocoulombs of charge is flowing within 2 minutes. Calculate the current, or they can say calculate the current strength. It is still referring to the same thing. The strength of the electric current. How strong is it? Now, you are going to use this formula and say that the current is equals to the charge over the time. So here, if we substitute, we'll say that the current is equals to the amount of charge that is flowing here past this point in 2 minutes it is 20 nanocoulomb. So here we'll write 20. But here remember that the standard unit for charge, it is coulombs. Here this n, remember we say that it represents times 10 to the power of negative 9. So you would have to say 20 times 10 to the power of negative 9. So that is the what? That is the charge in coulombs over. Now it flows in what? In 2 minutes. 2 minutes. What is measured in minutes? Remember, it is the time. So here we'll have to say that this is 2 minutes. But remember that the unit, the standard unit for us to refer to time, it is not minutes. We use seconds. So you have to convert these 2 minutes into seconds. You know that a 1 minute, it is equal to 60 seconds. So 1 minute is equals to 60 seconds. So basically here we are given 2 minutes. So 2 minutes here, what would it have to be? It would have to be 60 plus 60, right? Because we're having 2 minutes. 1 minute is 60 seconds. The other minute is 60 seconds as well. So that is 120 seconds. So here we are going to plug in 120 seconds, and then we get our current strength there. So we put that onto our calculator. That would be 20 times 10 to the power of negative 9 divided by 120 seconds. Remember, this time it must be in seconds. That's why we changed this 2 minutes to be in seconds, because that's the standard unit that we use for physics. And then that's here we get the answer that we get is 1.67 times 10 to the power of negative 10. But remember that you don't just answer in this way. When they say calculate the current strength, it has got a certain unit, right? Here, this is the symbol for current is I. The unit for current is amperes. So the unit for current is amperes, A. We use A for amperes. So basically, this is A, amperes. So basically here, this will be 1.67 times 10 to the power of negative 10 amperes. That is the current strength of this particular circuit, because we know the charge that is moving through, that is passing through a point, which is 20 nanocoulomb, and we also know the time taken for that charge to pass, which is 2 minutes. So we are able to use this formula to calculate the current strength. So that is the first measurement that we can do here under electric circuits. But now remember, electric current, we already said we are talking about the electricity that is flowing around the circuit. But for that electricity to flow around the circuit, there must be something that is causing the charges to flow. Because remember, we said that the current is the rate of flow of charge. For something to move in physics, there must be something giving it power, giving it some force so that it can be able to move. Which brings us to our second physical quantity. Our second physical quantity here will be the voltage or the potential difference. All right. So our second physical quantity, number 2, it is the potential. It is the potential difference. So the potential difference is otherwise known as the voltage, but we prefer the use of potential difference because the voltage is kind of it's not sounding. The potential difference is the one that describes best what is happening there. So remember, in our circuit we had something like this. We had a cell or a battery, and then we had a component, and then we say that's a resistor according to our label circuit. So here we said, remember that this is the positive and this is the negative terminal, and the current is flowing from positive to negative. So this is just the circuit there. But now what causes these charges to move? Because remember we said that when we have electric current, or when we've got electricity, basically the electric current, the electricity that is flowing, what causes it to flow? There must be something giving those charges some energy. So that energy is known as the potential difference. So the potential difference, it is actually the energy. So this is the energy, and this energy, it has to be provided by the power source, because remember, you cannot turn on a torch when you do not have batteries. So the batteries are the source of power. They give power so that we can have current to be created. So here basically the energy the energy that is provided by the battery, that is provided by the power source, but here we usually use the battery as our power source. It is provided by the battery per coulomb of charge, or you can say per unit charge. So this energy is known as the voltage, or it is known as the potential difference. So let me just say this is the voltage, or you can say that is the potential difference. So that is the energy. You use this word, guys, it's energy. Remember, energy is the ability to do work, or is the ability to move something. So basically, for the charges to flow, for us to be able to have current flowing in through the circuit so that we can turn on our different components such as speakers, such as batteries, such as all of that, we require to have energy. So that energy is provided by the battery or by the power source. So that energy is known as the potential difference. So this energy is provided per unit charge. Do not forget to mention this statement, per unit charge, or some textbooks that can say per coulomb of charge. It is still suggesting the same thing, to say that each and every charge that will move here so that we have current, it gets energy from the power source. That's how we are converting the chemical energy to electrical energy. So this is voltage. So the standard formula for voltage would have to be the voltage is equals to the charge over, okay, sorry, it is the work done over the charge. So this is the standard formula that we use, okay, the initial standard formula that we use to calculate the voltage. So we say that the voltage or the potential difference, it is equals to the work done over the what? Over the charge. Work done in physics refers to the energy that is transferred. So when you are using this symbol W, capital letter W, it is talking about the energy. And that is the energy that has been done what? That has been given, that has been provided by the battery to what? To each charge, so that that charge can create current within the circuit. So this W, it is the what? It is the work done. So we can say it is the work done, or we can say it is the energy transferred. The standard units for work done, it is joules. So joules, that's the unit that we use to measure energy transferred, or to measure the work done. So basically it is the unit joules. And then this Q here, it is the charge. And remember that we measure charge in coulombs. So the charge is measured in coulombs. So here, once you know the energy transferred and you know the amount of charge that receives that energy, that will give you the what? The voltage. So the voltage is the energy provided. So the voltage is more like the energy that we are giving to each charge. Energy per unit charge, or you can say energy per coulombs of charge. So we can try to do an example of that and say, for example, if I tell you that okay, let's just say a battery transfers, so let's just say a battery transfers maybe 20 joules to 40 microcoulomb of charge. Now the question comes and say, calculate the potential difference. Calculate the potential difference. And then they give you 3 marks. So now here's a question. So it says a battery transfers 20 joules to 40 microcoulomb of charge. Calculate the potential difference. This is the standard one. You collect your data to make things simpler for you. You collect your data or the information that you know. So here, what do we know here? We definitely know that we have something that is measured in joules. We have got 20 joules. This is the number, 20 joules. So this 20 joules, what is it? What is measured in joules? Remember, it is the work done, or it is the energy transferred. So here we will use W, and we say that we have got 20 joules. We're just collecting the information that we have based on this question. Here we're having what? We're having 20 joules. And then these 20 joules, it is being transferred to 40 microcoulomb. This is C. This C here, What is this C telling us? This C here, it is telling us that we are talking about charge here. This is charge. Guys, charge is measured in coulombs. You did this in electrostatics. So here we have got the amount of charge, and the symbol for charge, remember, it is Q. Q is equals to 40 microcoulomb. But we know that basically micro, it's a prefix, right? So instead of micro, what are we going to replace it with? Remember that when we see micro, we replace this with times 10 to the power of negative 6. That's micro. So I can just write 40, and I say this is 40 times 10 to the power of negative 6 coulombs. So I've just replaced this micro, this symbol here, with times 10 to the power of negative 6. Just like I did in the previous example for the current. I replaced N nano with times 10 to the power of negative 9. So those are prefixes that you may encounter. So now here, what are we looking for? They say calculate the potential difference. We want to calculate the potential difference. Here, we definitely know that the potential difference, it is the voltage, which is used, we use symbol V to represent it, V. So we are trying to calculate the potential difference. So we are just going to consult this formula here. Now that we have our information collected, we can now consult this formula here. It says V is equals to W over Q. So you first write the formula itself. I'll just rub off here because you already have the question. So here, you just come, the first thing that you do, you see that you have got W, you have got Q, you have got V. There is a formula that involves all those three things, and it says that V is equals to W over Q. And then there we go. That's the first mark, just writing the formula. Then here you are looking for V. You don't have V, right? That's what they said calculate. So V here will be equals to W, it is the work done, or is the energy transferred to each coulomb of charge. In this case, it is 20 joules. All right, that's important. That's the importance of collecting information. And then Q, it is the charge. Here in this case, it is 40 times 10 to the power of negative 6 coulombs. And then whatever that you're going to find there will be your voltage, or it will be your potential difference. So here you would have to say that you've got 20 over 40 times 10 to the power of negative 6, and then that is just going to give you 500,000. So this is going to give us 500,000. And then the unit that we use to measure voltage or potential difference, it is volts. So you're just going to write V again for volts. So this is how you calculate the energy that is transferred to each coulomb of charge. So that's the energy per unit charge, and it is known as the voltage. It is the one that actually causes the circuit to actually start functioning. It is the one that causes the circuit to have current within it, and it is known as the voltage. And now we also have got another form of voltage that is known as EMF. So for grade 10 is not really crucial. EMF is basically the energy of the battery as well. It's measured in volts as well, and it acts as voltage for grade 10. We don't really become too much specific on how it affects this whole thing. So for now, we'll just hold it back. And now we'll go to the last quantity, which is the resistance. So let's talk about the resistance. All right. So remember, back to our circuit, we say that this thing known as a resistor, it is the one that now uses the electrical energy that is coming from the battery, right? Remember that it was chemical energy at first inside the battery, it was stored inside the battery, and it became electrical energy. Now it is being used up by this thing known as a resistor. All right, it can be a light bulb, it can be a speaker, a capacitor, a buzzer, or whatever that is there, or a stove or a heater, anything that is able to use electrical energy and convert it to other forms of energy. Now, when the current is moving, the current can actually experience an opposition. What am I trying to say? So basically here, when the current is moving in this direction, the current here, it is able to move freely through the wire, okay? It's able to move freely through the conductor. but when it encounters a resistor, or when it reaches a resistor, the term resistance, it means opposition. Okay, when something is resisting something, when someone is resisting, just means that he's opposing something. For example, if I try to move through the wall, I cannot move through the wall, Anish, because the wall is acting as a barrier for me to move. So pretend that I am the current and I'm trying to move. Okay, pretend that this is the wall and then this is the current. Is trying to move, it is trying to pass, but now this wall here is kind of not permitting it to move, so it's more like it's opposing it. All right, so that's what we call a resistance. So when you define resistance, you say it is the opposition. So you define this as the opposition to current flow. So this is the opposition to current flow. So the resistance is just the opposition to current flow. So it is also something that we measure as well. A resistance, we measure it using we use ohms to measure resistance. Basically, we use ohms to measure resistance. Basically, resistance, there's nothing much about it. It is the one that will connect us to the Ohm's law. But for now, we are not yet doing those type of calculations. But just know that resistance, it is the opposition to current flow. But just know this, the formula that connects resistance, currents, and voltage, all the things that I've talked about today, they are connected by this formula. V is equals to IR. V is equals to IR. And then this formula is kind of a resemblance of the law that is known as the Ohm's law. So this is known as the Ohm's law. But for grade 10, they will hardly ask you to state the Ohm's law and to know the effects of the Ohm's law. So just know that V is equals to IR is known as the Ohm's law. It is the one that we use if we know the voltage and the current. We can find the resistance, or if we know the resistance and the current, we can find the voltage. If we know the voltage and the resistance, we can find the current. So we'll just do an example on how we can apply the Ohm's law to be able to kind of solve questions. So here I can kind of give you a question here and come to you and say that a resistor, so I can say that a resistor with a resistance of 20 ohms. So this symbol here is known as ohms. It's known as ohm. That's what we use to measure resistance. That's the symbol for measuring resistance. So when you see ohms like this, it means resistance, right? So here, a resistor with a resistance of 20 ohms, okay, has a voltage of 4 volts, or it is called a potential difference of 4 volts. Now the question says calculate the current strength. Calculate the current strength. All right, here it is, and then it is 3 marks. So here's our question here. It says here, a resistor with a resistance of 20 ohms has a voltage of 4 volts. So you collect your data first. You collect the information that you have first to make things easier and simpler for you. So let's just collect the information that we have here. So I will say this is known as the data. So this is the data, or is the information that I have. So according to what I'm given here, I'm just going to look at the number. We have a resistor with a resistance of 20 ohms. So this is 20, and then the unit, this unit or this symbol here, it tells you that we are measuring resistance, guys. It's just like you're saying, for you to measure distance, you use meters. For you to measure volume, you use liters. For you to measure a height, you use meters. All of those types of things, those are the units that we use to describe something. In physics, you must always write the units. Tell us, don't just say it has got a resistance of 20. It's 20 watt, 20 dogs. No, 20 ohms. So this is their resistance. It's ohms. This is ohms actually, but this is the symbol that we write using. So here we can say that we have our resistance. R is equals to 20 ohms. And then now the other number that we've been given in this statement here, they say it has a voltage of 4 volts. So it has a voltage of 4 volts. 4V. What do we use? Well, what do we measure using this unit V? Remember, it is the potential difference, or it is the voltage of the battery, which is just the energy provided per unit charge of that per unit charge of that circuit. So here we can say that we've got the voltage here, it is 4 volts. And then now what are we looking for? The question says calculate the current strength. So calculate the what? The current strength. So we are looking for current, and current, remember the symbol here, it is I. So we're looking for I. This is the current. That's what we're looking for. Remember, we have just explained the resemblance of the Ohm's law, and you've said that when you know the voltage and the resistance, you can find the current. When you know the voltage and the current, you can find the resistance. At least know at least two things out of these three. Then you can find the third one using the Ohm's law. The Ohm's law, which will say that the formula says V is equals to I times R. V is equals to I times R. So the potential difference, or the energy per unit charge, is equals to the current strength multiplied by the resistance returns. All right, so here my voltage I've been given, it is 4 volts, and then my current here I've been given, no, I haven't been given, it's an unknown, so this is a missing current. So I'm just going to write I. And then my resistance, the resistance of this resistor, it is measured in ohms, right? It is 20 ohms. So I'm going to say this is times 20. And doing the mathematics here, how can I solve for I? This is like I times 20 is equals to 4. I can divide on both sides by what? I can divide both sides by 20. So I can divide both sides by 20. So 20 cancels the other side. I will remain with only I or 1. So this is I. Okay, and if I say 4 over 20, 4 divided by 4 will give you 1, and then 4 into 20 will give you 5. So 4 over 20 will be something like 1 over 5. And then here this will be, therefore you can say that the current here will be somewhere around 0.2 amperes. All right, there will be 0.2 amperes. That's the current strength. Remember, you don't just write 0.2, guys. You write using standard units. You must tell us the units. Don't just say 0.2. 0.2 dogs. No, we are not calculating dogs here. We are calculating quantities that I have told you, each unit. We say that current, we measure it in amperes. We say that voltage, we measure it in volts. We say that charge, we measure it in coulombs. Resistance, we measure it in ohms. Current in amperes. So whenever you're calculating, in this case we are calculating the current strength. That's why the unit that we wrote here, it is amperes. So you can see that. So this quantity of resistance, it is just the opposition. We want to see how current is being opposed, is the opposition. So it's more like if I'm taking a component such as, okay, let's just take this calculator, pretend that it is connected. Okay, it uses batteries, right? And let me just take a phone. If I take this calculator and I take a phone, those two things, and then you can see that their batteries are different, right? This calculator, it uses up less current. Okay, it's because it doesn't have so much resistance with it. It doesn't oppose a lot of current, but the phone, it has got a greater resistance. It just depends on how easy it is to oppose. Okay, a resistance just tells you the opposing of current. All right, so it's more like you are not, current is trying to flow through that resistor, but the resistor is opposing it. So that is the resistance. And sometimes it can happen that if the resistance is so much high, your device will end up heating up. For example, you can see that when you put a light bulb, when it is on for so long, it will end up getting hot. That is, in physics, we say that is a resistance. It simply means that the temperature is increasing, right? It is that the fact that the bulb is becoming hot, it means that it has got a lot of resistance. The energy is just being converted to heat. It is sticking on the bulb, something like that. So I hope that we kind of get that great. This is just a basic introduction on electric circuits. In our next video, we'll be doing the types of circuits, series versus parallel circuits. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends to stay tuned.